Welcome back to a new video of Sunanda's tutorial. In this video, we will discuss the reproduction in flowering plants. Previously, 15 to 20 days back, I have posted one thing regarding vegetative reproduction in flowering plants in my community section. But today we will discuss the sexual reproduction in flowering plants or angiosperms. So basically, flower is the reproductive part of the plant body. In flower, they have male reproductive organ and female reproductive organ. Male reproductive organ is called androecium. Female reproductive organ is called gynoecium. Androecium or male reproductive part, one unit of male reproductive part is called stamen. Okay, so at first we will discuss about male reproductive part. In this video, it is a very basic video. Today I will only discuss about the steps of a plant life cycle, of a higher plant or angiospermic plant life cycle. How reproduction occur in higher plants or angiosperms. In my next videos, we will discuss about the steps of development of male reproductive part, how they develop, how they mature, how pollen grains are formed inside the male reproductive part, then about the development of female reproductive part, then details about pollination, different types of pollination, contrivances of pollination, then details about double fertilization. So I will post those detailed videos later on. Today in this video I will only discuss some basic steps. So stamen is the male reproductive part of the plant, and it consists of two parts, one long filament and which is slender, that means soft, and anther. This anther is bilobed, each lobe having two theca, like this, two theca. Hence they are dithecous in nature as they have two theca. Then anther is a tetragonal structure comprising of microsporangia situated at the edge of two lobes. So this is two lobe structure. So both of these lobes have two sac each. So it is a tetragonal structure like this. So these are called microsporangia or spore sac. So this anther is a bilobed structure. These lobes have two sacs each. These sacs are called microsporangia or spore sac. The microsporangia develop into pollen sac. Later on, microsporogenesis is the formation of microspores through meiosis from pollen mother cell. So inside that spore sac, pollen grains are formed, or pollen grains or microspores are formed from pollen mother cell or microspore mother cell. And that process of formation of pollen grains from pollen mother cell is called as microsporogenesis. From pollen mother cell, which is basically diploid in nature, will transform or form pollen grains which are haploid in nature by the process of microsporogenesis, and this division is meiosis. Because from diploid pollen mother cell, haploid pollen grains are formed. Pollen grains are the representation of male gametophyte. The maturity of pollen grain is indicated by two cells. Then pollen grain with a pollen nucleus mature and it will form two cells, one vegetative cell, one generative cell. So a mature pollen grain have two cells. One is vegetative cell, the second one is generative cell. Next, then the female reproductive part. The female reproductive part or gynoecium may be monocarpellary with many carpels. Carpels are the individual unit of female reproductive part, and they may be one in a single flower. They may be many number of carpels present in a single flower, called as multicarpellary condition. When single carpel is present, called as monocarpellary. When multiple carpel is present in a flower, called multicarpellary. Sometimes the number is 2, called bicarpellary. Sometimes tricarpellary, having 3 carpels. Then above 3 carpels are called as multicarpellary condition. Each pistil or female reproductive part, individual female reproductive part, consists of 3 parts: a solen ovary, a long style, and stigma. The ovarian cavity, this is the ovary, and the ovarian cavity, many ovules are present. Ovules or megasporangia are present inside ovarian chamber. Ovules or megasporangia are present inside ovarian chamber. The ovule consist of a funicle, hilum, integument, micropylar end, chalazal end, nucellus, embryo sac, and or the female gametophyte. So all these things we will discuss in our female reproductive part and its development video. So now you have to remember only these terms. These parts are present in a mature ovule of angiosperm. The formation of megaspores or the egg or megaspore from megaspore mother cell is referred to as megasporogenesis. Mostly one of the 4 megaspores is functional and develops into female gametophyte or embryo sac. The rest are degenerated. So from megaspore mother cell, by the process of meiosis, megaspores are formed. Generally 4 megaspores are formed, from which 3 will be degenerated and 1 functional megaspore will form the complete embryo sac or female gametophyte. At maturity, when all this process will be finished, the female reproductive part mature, and in a mature female reproductive part of angiosperm, they have embryo sac, although it depicts 8 nucleated and 7 celled. So a mature embryo sac, angiospermic embryo sac, have 8 nucleus and 7 cells. 8 nucleus and 7 cells. Next. Then what are the steps? Till now we have studied about the female reproductive part and male reproductive part of the flower. Now what are the steps of sexual reproduction? So at first pollination will occur. What is pollination? It is the process of the transfer of pollen grains from male reproductive part of a flower to female reproductive part of same flower or another flower. When the pollen grain will transfer to the female reproductive part of the same flower, it is called as self-pollination or autogamy. When the pollen grain will transfer into another flower, female part of the another flower born on the same plant, it is called as jettenogamy. And when that pollen grain from male part of one plant will transfer into the female reproductive part of another plant or another flower born on the different plant, it is called as cross pollination or genogamy. So this is the difference only. Pollination is the process of transferring the pollen grains across the anther and the stigma of same flower of a plant or to a flower of different plant for the process of fertilization and production of seed. So what is the ultimate aim of all these things? To produce seed and produce flower, and actually to produce seed for the next generation. The agents involved in transferring the pollen grain, sometimes birds are involved, sometimes winds are involved. The case is called anemophily. Sometimes insects are involved, called as entomophily. So we will discuss details about these agents, types of pollination in our pollination video. Next, kinds of pollination. Autogamy. Pollination takes place within the same flower, wherein the pollen grains from anther are transferred to the stigma of that same flower. It will occur in a single flower from the male reproductive part to the female reproductive part of that one flower. Suppose it is a flower, it is the female reproductive part, it is the male reproductive part, so transfer will occur from this to this. This is the case of autogamy, or most commonly called as self-pollination. Next category is jettenogamy. In this type, the pollination, in this type of pollination, pollen grains are transferred from anther to the stigma of different flower born on the same plant. It is a flower, it is another flower. Pollen grain will be transferred from one flower to another born on the same plant. Next, genogamy. It is the transfer of pollen grain from one plant or anther of one flower born on the one plant to the female part of another flower born on a different plant. This is the case called as cross pollination, which will occur between two plants. Next, after pollination, double fertilization will occur. After pollination, double fertilization leads to the formation of zygote, then ultimately seeds are formed, and then endosperm is formed. So what is double fertilization then? So when a pollen grain will reach on the stigma of that female reproductive part, two male nucleus enter inside the female reproductive part. One male nucleus will fuse with the egg and form the zygote. Another male nucleus will fuse with the polar nuclei or secondary nucleus to form primary endosperm nucleus, and from primary endosperm nucleus endosperm will form, and from zygote seeds are formed, and the entire ovary of the female reproductive part will transform into the fruit. Okay, then formation of zygote. After pollination, male gamete is transferred down through style of the pistil to the ovary, and male gamete are fused with female gamete to form zygote. Zygote is located near embryo sac, situated at micropylar end where embryo develops. Then typically zygote splits after some amount of endosperm is formed. This ensures the nutrition is rendered to the developing embryo. So here what he says that when one male nucleus fuse with egg, they form zygote. By capturing or by having nutrition from the endosperm from embryo, then embryo grows and it will develop by deriving some amount of nutrition from the endosperm. It will derive nutrition from the endosperm. So from where this endosperm will form? One male nucleus will fuse with egg, another male nucleus will fuse with secondary nucleus to form primary endosperm nucleus. From primary endosperm nucleus, endosperm will be formed. This endosperm are diploid in nature. Okay. Next, formation of fruits and seeds. This embryo, whole embryo, inside the embryo the ovules develop into seeds and ovary develop into fruit. The ultimate product of sexual reproduction is seed. Okay. So inside that whole fruit, seeds are formed. After the fertilization, zygote will be formed and it will develop into embryo, and the ovules are transformed into seed and the whole ovary is transformed to form fruit. The process of seed formation is dependable as other reproductive process are water dependent. So for dispersal of newer habitat, seeds have a better adaptive strategy helping species to colonize other areas. So seed dispersal, for seed to disperse, they depend on air and water. Young seedlings are self-nourished until photosynthesis, as they have enough food reserve, generates new genetic recombination resulting in variations. Seeds can be stored for usage throughout the year. Some seeds are dormant, so we can keep it for a long time. So our ultimate aim of this sexual reproduction is to produce seed for the next generation, for growing the next generation of that plant, for conserving one genetic combination. Okay, so it is the whole steps: fertilization, then embryo, then seeds are formed, then fruit develop from ovary, fruit ripens, flower parts falls away, then we can eat that fruit, and from that we can get our seeds, okay, for growing the plant for next generation. Then it is the whole life cycle of an angiosperm. They have flower, inside that flower ovary and anther is there, then pollen grains and egg is formed, then after fertilization, fertilized egg is there, from fertilized egg zygote and embryo is formed, then embryo have seed and inside a fruit, then seed germinate to form another plant, fresh plant or young plant. So it is the whole life cycle of angiosperm. So it is a very basic video. I will discuss each and every point in details. So please subscribe to my channel to get important videos in future, which will definitely help you in your examination for competitive examinations. Okay, so if you like this video, please hit the like button, share with your other friends, and please subscribe to my channel Sunanda's Tutorial. With this, I am concluding my lecture video. Thank you.